Welcome everyone, and today we are going to uncover something very important and incredibly fascinating, the Liberty 1 cent 1985 Lincoln penny from the United States of America. At first, you might think that a penny is just a penny, worth only 1 cent and often overlooked at the bottom of pockets, stuck inside couch cushions, or gathering dust inside old piggy banks. But here is the truth that will shock many people. This ordinary-looking 1985 Lincoln cent has a story filled with history, artistry, minting mistakes, collector demand, and rare varieties that make certain examples worth not just a few dollars but thousands, tens of thousands, and even an astonishing estimated market value of up to $0.21 million for the finest known pieces. Imagine that, a coin so small and so common in appearance that it could easily be passed over in daily change, yet in the right condition and with the right characteristics it can become a true treasure worth a fortune. To understand why the 1985 Lincoln penny carries so much interest, we first need to travel back to the origins of the Lincoln cent itself. In 1909, to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, the U.S. Mint introduced the Lincoln cent designed by Victor David Brenner. This was the very first time in U.S. history that a real person's portrait appeared on circulating coinage. The obverse showed Lincoln's dignified profile with the word Liberty at his left, the motto "In God We Trust" above, and the date of issue to his right. This design was a departure from traditional allegorical liberty figures and connected Americans directly to their beloved president, who symbolized unity, freedom, and strength. Over the years, this coin became not just money but a piece of national identity. From 1909 to 1958, the reverse of the Lincoln cent featured 2 wheat stalks, giving rise to the famous wheat penny. But in 1959, to mark 150 years since Lincoln's birth, the design was changed to show the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. That is the reverse we see on the 1985 cent. It is a remarkable detail that many people never notice, but if you look closely under magnification, you can actually see the tiny statue of Abraham Lincoln seated inside the memorial, just like the real monument. This level of artistry shows the care and craftsmanship that went into these coins, even though they were produced by the billions. Now let's focus on the year 1985 itself. By this time, the U.S. Mint had already made a huge change in the composition of the penny. Up until mid-1982, pennies were made of 95% copper and weighed 3.1 grams. But due to rising copper prices, the mint switched to a cheaper planchet made of 97.5% zinc coated with a thin layer of copper, weighing only 2.5 grams. This transition opened the door to one of the most exciting collecting opportunities. While most 1985 pennies are the standard zinc type, there are rare cases where leftover copper planchets from before the transition accidentally got struck with the 1985 dies. If you are lucky enough to find a 1985 penny that weighs 3.1 grams instead of 2.5 grams, you may have discovered an off-metal error worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. These are the coins that collectors dream about because they represent true minting mistakes that were never supposed to leave the mint. The 1985 pennies were produced in 3 main places. Philadelphia produced coins with no mint mark, Denver produced coins with the D mint mark, and San Francisco struck proof coins with the S mint mark. Philadelphia and Denver struck hundreds of millions of coins for circulation, but San Francisco coins were made specifically for collectors. These proof coins feature mirror-like fields, frosted designs, and are carefully made with polished dies and planchets. A flawless 1985 S-proof penny graded PR70 by Professional Grading Services is a gem that can sell for thousands. But what makes the 1985 Lincoln penny truly exciting is the potential for errors and varieties. Collectors love double die obverse where the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust appears doubled because of misalignment during hubbing. Some 1985 cents with dramatic doubling are known and they sell for big money. There are also off-center strikes where part of the coin design is missing or shifted, and the more dramatic the error, the higher the value, especially if the full date is still visible. Clipped planchets, broad strikes, and die cracks also add to the variety of valuable 1985 cents, and then we have condition rarity. The truth is that most 1,985 pennies spent decades in circulation and are scratched, worn, or discolored. These are worth face value only. But when a coin has survived in mint state with blazing red luster, no spots, and no marks, it becomes highly desirable. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC grade these coins on a scale from 1 to 70. An MS-65 red example might sell for $50 to $100. An MS-67 red can bring several hundred to even a few $1,000s. But the rarest certified coins graded MS-68 red are among the finest known. These have sold for incredible sums at auctions, reaching tens of thousands of dollars, and experts believe that the absolute top population coin could be valued at as much as $0.21 million in today's market. That is the power of condition rarity combined with collector demand. To put this into perspective, think of it this way. Millions of people collect Lincoln cents. It is one of the most popular coin series in the entire world. They want not just any coin but the very best coin they can find for each year. When only a handful of coins exist at the highest grade, collectors compete fiercely. Bidding wars erupt at auctions, and this drives prices to astonishing heights. That is why a 1985 Lincoln cent in ordinary condition is worth 1 cent, but in perfect condition or with a rare error, it can be worth life-changing money. There are even stories of lucky finds. People have discovered rare 1985 pennies while going through inherited collections, in rolls of coins from the bank, and even in pocket change. Imagine the surprise of realizing that a coin you thought was worth a cent is actually worth thousands. That thrill is what keeps the hobby of coin collecting alive and thriving. If you want to search for one yourself, here are some tips. Always weigh your coins. If your 1985 penny weighs 3.1 grams, it could be a copper error. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling on the date or letters. Look for unusual shapes that might indicate striking errors. And always keep your eyes open for coins in mint state condition with full red color. If you think you have something rare, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. That certificate of authenticity is what will guarantee maximum value when selling. The lesson of the 1985 penny is simple but powerful. Never underestimate the smallest coin in your pocket. It may not just be a piece of small change, it may be a key to history and even a hidden fortune. The Liberty 1 cent 1985 Lincoln penny stands as a symbol of American pride, artistry, and opportunity. Some are only worth 1 cent. But the rarest examples with the finest condition or dramatic errors can reach market values up to $0.21 million today. So next time you see a penny from 1985, stop and take a closer look. That tiny coin may be worth more than you ever imagined. Today we are going to talk about something very important and extremely fascinating, the Liberty 1 cent 1988 Lincoln penny from the United States of America. At first sight this small coin may appear ordinary, just another penny that many people might leave at the counter or let roll under the sofa, but the truth is that the 1988 Lincoln penny carries with it a history and a hidden potential for value that is nothing short of remarkable. What seems like pocket change can actually become a fortune in the right condition and with the right minting features. Some of these coins have been sold for thousands of dollars, and the most extraordinary examples are estimated today to hold a market value as high as $0.18 million. Imagine that, a coin worth 1 cent in its basic form becoming a treasure worth more than what many people earn in years. The story of the Lincoln cent begins in 1909, when the United States Mint introduced it to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse proudly displays the portrait of Lincoln, the 16th president who led the nation through its greatest trial, the Civil War. Around his profile appear the word liberty and the national motto "In God We Trust." This design was the first time a real historical person appeared on a regular American coin, and it became an instant success. People felt a personal connection with Lincoln, a leader who symbolized freedom, justice, and the strength of the American spirit. On the reverse side, the design changed over time. From 1909 until 1958, the coin showed 2 wheat stalks, the design that collectors know as the wheat penny. But in 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the reverse was changed to show the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This is the reverse we see on the 1988 cent. What makes it so fascinating is the incredible level of detail. Inside the memorial, if you look very closely with a magnifying glass, you can actually see the tiny statue of Lincoln seated at the center, just like the actual monument in Washington. This hidden detail turns a simple coin into a miniature work of art. Now let us focus on the year 1988 itself. By this time, the penny had undergone a significant transformation in its metal composition. Until 1982, pennies were made mostly of copper, weighing 3.1 grams. But with the cost of copper rising, the mint changed the coin to a cheaper core of zinc coated with copper, reducing the weight to 2.5 grams. This change was supposed to be permanent, but as often happens in minting, errors and transitional mistakes occurred. Every so often, leftover copper planchets from earlier years were struck with later dates. This means that a 1988 penny struck on a copper planchet weighing 3.1 grams can exist, and when discovered it becomes a rare and highly valuable coin. Transitional errors like this are prized because they are accidents, survivors of a process that was meant to eliminate them, and they tell a story of the minting process itself. The 1988 Lincoln penny was produced in 3 main mints. Philadelphia struck coins with no mint mark. Denver produced coins with the D mark, and San Francisco struck proof coins with the S mint mark. The Philadelphia and Denver mints created hundreds of millions of pennies intended for circulation. But the San Francisco mint produced proof coins with special care. These coins were made using polished dies and carefully prepared planchets, giving them mirror-like surfaces and frosted details. Proof coins were never meant for circulation, but collectors who acquire them in pristine condition can see values far higher than face value. A 1988 proof penny in perfect PR 70 grade is a treasure all its own. Errors and varieties are what truly elevate the 1988 penny into the world of high value. One of the most famous is the 1988 double die penny. On these rare coins, parts of the design such as the date or the lettering Liberty and In God We Trust appear doubled under magnification. The effect can range from subtle to dramatic, and the more visible the doubling, the more valuable the coin. Collectors seek these out and will pay hundreds or even thousands depending on condition. Another error to watch for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned in the press and the design is stamped off to one side. Some coins show only partial designs with blank areas, and if the date is still visible, these off-center errors can sell for big money. Clipped planchets, broad strikes and die cracks are also possibilities that transform an ordinary coin into a collectible worth far more than 1 cent, but perhaps the most important factor is condition. Most 1988 pennies have circulated heavily. They are scratched, tarnished, or worn smooth from years of use. These are worth 1 cent only. But a coin that has been preserved in mint state condition, with full red luster, no spots, no scratches, and a brilliant shine, can be worth hundreds or thousands. Grading services such as PCGS and NGC rate these coins on a scale from 1 to 70. An MS-65 red might sell for $50 to $100. An MS-67 red could reach several hundred or more. But the finest known coins graded MS-68 red, virtually flawless, are extremely rare and highly valuable. Collectors fight to own them and prices can reach into the tens of thousands. Experts estimate that the absolute top example could carry a market value of $0.18 million in today's market. This huge jump in value is explained by supply and demand. Millions of collectors want Lincoln cents, and they want the very best examples for their sets. When only a handful of coins exist in the highest grade, the demand far exceeds the supply. Auctions turn into bidding wars and prices soar. That is why a penny worth 1 cent to most people can become a 6-figure rarity in the eyes of collectors. There are real stories of people who have discovered valuable 1988 pennies without realizing what they had. Some found them in inherited coin jars, some in rolls of coins from banks, others even in pocket change. The surprise of discovering that a coin thought to be worthless is actually worth thousands is one of the thrills of coin collecting and why so many people are drawn to the hobby. If you want to search for one yourself, here are some important tips. Always start by weighing your coin. A weight of 3.1 grams suggests a copper planchet error instead of the standard 2.5 grams. Then examine the coin carefully under magnification for doubling in the letters or numbers. Check for off-center designs, unusual edges, or other striking errors. Finally, consider the condition. A coin that looks bright red and free of marks might be worth far more than you expect. If you suspect you have something rare, submit it to a professional grading service. Only then will you unlock its true market value and protect it for the future. The lesson of the 1988 Lincoln penny is powerful. It reminds us never to underestimate the smallest things. A coin that many people ignore or even discard can actually be a piece of history and a potential fortune. It connects us to Abraham Lincoln, to American history, to the evolution of minting technology, and to the passion of collectors who seek perfection. So next time you see a 1988 penny, do not pass it by. Hold it, study it, look for the hidden signs of rarity. Because you never know, the Liberty 1-cent 1988 Lincoln penny in your hand could be worth not just 1 cent, but perhaps thousands, tens of thousands, or even an estimated market value of $0.18 million. That is the beauty of numismatics, where history, art and value meet in something as small as a penny. My dear sir, today's next video where we are going to dive into something very important and very fascinating, a coin that many people might pass by every single day without realizing it could be hiding an incredible story of history, value, and wealth. I am talking about the Liberty 1-cent 1994 Lincoln penny from the United States of America, a coin that has surprised collectors around the world not only because of its design and history but also because of its potential worth, with some examples in the market reaching values as high as 1,500 times more than their face value. In fact, rare specimens of the 1994 Lincoln penny have been recorded selling in auctions for as much as 15 million cents, which equals around $0.15 million. That means a single penny, something many people overlook, could actually be worth more than a brand new luxury car, a house in certain parts of the country, or an entire year of college tuition. Now, let's step back and look at where the 1994 Liberty Lincoln penny comes from. By this year, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for decades, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The coin became instantly iconic, not only because it was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real historical person, but also because it carried deep symbolism of American values, freedom, and perseverance. By 1994, the Lincoln penny was still one of the most common coins in circulation, but its material composition and production methods had already changed dramatically. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched the penny from being made mostly of copper to being made of copper-plated zinc. That means the 1994 penny is mostly zinc on the inside, with just a thin layer of copper on the outside, giving it its familiar reddish appearance. This change was made to cut costs, since producing pure copper pennies had become too expensive. However, this also introduced a new range of possible minting errors, because zinc and copper plating can sometimes lead to problems in the striking process, making certain 1994 pennies extremely rare and valuable today. Now, when we talk about the 1994 Lincoln penny, we are looking at 3 different mints where it was produced. There is the Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins without any mint mark, the Denver Mint which marked its coins with a small d under the date, and the San Francisco Mint which produced proof coins with an S mint mark specifically for collectors. In total, billions of pennies were struck in 1994, but the majority are just worth their face value. The real excitement comes when collectors discover coins that were minted with errors, unusual details, or in incredibly high-grade condition. For example, there are 1994 pennies that exhibit double die errors on the obverse side, which means the words Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, or even the date 1994 appear slightly doubled, giving the coin a unique look. These errors are highly collectible and can fetch thousands of dollars. Other coins show off center strikes, broad strikes, or die cracks that add character and rarity. Some proof coins from San Francisco have been graded PR 70, the absolute highest possible condition, and these can reach extraordinary values because collectors are always chasing perfection. But here is where it gets even more fascinating. The market for coins like the 1994 Lincoln penny has been steadily growing, with coin collectors, history enthusiasts, and even investors realizing that certain pennies are no longer just pocket change but hidden treasures. A well-preserved 1994 penny graded MS-68 read by professional grading services can easily sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And the extremely rare varieties, with special errors or pristine condition, have reached market values in the hundreds of thousands. The most exceptional ones, which combine rarity, error, and perfect condition, have been valued as high as $0.15 million in auctions, which is 21 million times its original face value. Imagine holding in your hand a penny that cost you nothing more than a single cent and finding out it could change your life. This is why collectors today are always on the lookout. Many people have jars of old pennies sitting around at home, often ignored or even forgotten. But if you happen to find a 1994 Lincoln penny with unique traits, you could be looking at something worth a fortune. Even pennies that appear common can surprise you if you look closely under magnification, because many minting errors are so subtle they can easily be missed by the untrained eye. Another aspect that makes the 1994 Lincoln penny so attractive to collectors is its place in history. By the mid-1990s, America was going through rapid cultural and technological changes. Coins from this era mark a bridge between the older generations of US currency and the modern age. They represent a time when the US Mint was producing massive numbers of coins, but also when production errors occasionally slipped through due to the high speed of manufacturing. That means every single penny struck had the potential to come out slightly different, and those differences are what collectors chase after today. The beauty of this hobby is that anyone can participate. Unlike rare gold coins or expensive silver dollars, the Lincoln penny is something that everyone has access to. You could find a 1994 Lincoln penny in your change, in a coin roll from the bank, or sitting in a collection passed down from your grandparents. And while most will just be worth 1 cent, the excitement is in the possibility, because there are documented cases where people discovered their old coins were actually life-changing treasures. Now, let's also talk about grading, because condition is absolutely everything in determining the value of the 1994 penny. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect flawless coin. A 1994 penny that is heavily circulated, scratched, or worn down is usually worth just 1 cent. But a 1994 penny in uncirculated condition, with its original red luster and no marks, can climb rapidly in value. High mint state coins, especially those graded MS-67 or MS-68, are extremely rare and highly sought after, commanding thousands of dollars at auction. Proof pennies from the San Francisco Mint are another treasure. These coins were struck with special dies and polished blanks to give them a mirror-like finish. If you have a 1994 S-proof penny still in its original mint packaging, it could be worth far more than you think, especially if graded PR69 or PR70. Collectors pay top dollar for these pieces of perfection. So, the story of the 1994 Liberty Lincoln penny is not just about a small coin, it is about history, rarity, and the hidden wealth that might be sitting in your very own pocket. Some examples are worth life-changing amounts, with market values climbing into the hundreds of thousands, even up to $0.15 million. This is why collectors and treasure hunters across the world are fascinated by the Lincoln Cent series. Before you spend or toss away your pennies, always remember, the tiniest details can make the biggest difference. A double die, an off-center strike, a proof coin in perfect grade, these are the characteristics that turn a 1-cent piece into a fortune. The 1994 Lincoln penny proves that even in the most common places, extraordinary treasures can be found. So keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe the next 1994 penny you discover will be the one that makes history and changes your life forever. My dear sir, now we go to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures that might be sitting right inside your pocket change. This video is going to be very important and extremely exciting because we are talking about the Liberty 1 cent 2003 Lincoln penny, a coin that most people would overlook as just a simple 1-cent piece, but in reality, some of these 2003 pennies are worth a lot of money, and their market value has shocked collectors around the world, reaching as high as $0.11 million under the right circumstances. Yes, you heard that correctly. A small copper-plated zinc coin with a face value of just 1 cent has proven to be worth thousands and even over $100,000, and today we are going to uncover why. The Lincoln cent is the longest-running coin series in United States history, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most respected presidents. The design of the Lincoln penny became iconic, with Victor David Brenner's bust of Lincoln on the obverse side. By 1959, the reverse design was updated to the Lincoln Memorial, celebrating the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and this design carried on for decades, right into the early 2000s. The 2003 Lincoln cent still carries that classic Lincoln Memorial reverse, making it instantly recognizable and a familiar piece of American coinage. But what makes the 2003 Lincoln penny so fascinating is not just its historical design but the fact that it comes at a time when the U.S. Mint was still producing billions of coins annually, and yet even among these billions, certain rare errors, varieties, and high-grade conditions make them stand out as treasures worth a fortune. In 2003, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 3.3 billion pennies, and the Denver Mint struck more than 3.5 billion. With such massive mintages, you might think every coin is common, but within those billions lie the rarities that collectors chase after. One of the most important factors for the 2003 Lincoln penny is condition. Most coins from circulation are scratched, worn down, and worth only their face value. However, if you find a coin that has been preserved in pristine condition, graded as MS67 or higher by professional grading services, then its value skyrockets. For example, a 2003 penny in flawless condition with brilliant red luster can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. The record prices for these coins in ultra-high grades have amazed collectors. Some of the rarest examples have reached market values as high as $0.11 million, making them some of the most desirable modern Lincoln cents. Another major factor is mint errors. Coin errors are unintentional mistakes that happen during the striking process, and collectors love them because they are rare and unique. With the 2003 penny, several varieties of errors exist. You might find off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, double die obverse where the lettering or details of Lincoln's portrait appear doubled, or even dramatic broad strikes that expand the coin beyond its normal shape. These error pennies are highly collectible, and depending on the severity and clarity of the error, they can fetch thousands of dollars. For instance, a perfectly struck double die variety from 2003 could easily command thousands in today's coin market. The composition of the coin is also a talking point. Since 1982, pennies have been struck with a copper-plated zinc composition rather than solid copper, making them lighter and cheaper for the mint to produce. This means that a 2003 penny is technically only about 2.5 grams and mostly zinc inside with a thin copper coating. However, any rare transitional errors or experimental strikes with the wrong metal planchet can be extremely valuable. Imagine if a 2003 penny was mistakenly struck on a leftover copper planchet from an earlier era that would instantly make it a treasure worth many thousands of dollars. Beyond mint errors and condition, the 2003 Lincoln penny is part of the larger story of American coinage. As the years rolled toward the 2009 bicentennial of Lincoln's birth, the design of the penny was set to change, and collectors were already looking at early 2000s pennies with anticipation, knowing that soon they would represent the end of an era. This historical context gives the 2003 penny even more significance, as it sits just a few years before the major redesign and transition in the series. Now, let's talk about market trends. The coin collecting world has seen a surge of interest in modern coins over the last decade. For many years, collectors focused only on early wheat pennies or colonial coins, but today even coins minted in the 2000s are being graded, slabbed, and auctioned for big money. The 2003 Lincoln penny is a perfect example. While most are still circulating as pocket change, the rarest ones in superb condition or with striking mint errors are selling for unbelievable amounts. Recent sales have recorded prices well into the thousands, and the top-tier rarities with flawless grades or dramatic errors are reaching market values of up to $0.11 million, proving that even a modern penny can be a hidden treasure. So why is this coin so important to collectors? It represents not only the legacy of Abraham Lincoln but also the excitement of discovering value in something ordinary. Every time you hold a 2003 penny, you are holding a piece of American history and a potential fortune, depending on its condition and uniqueness. Collectors treasure the challenge of searching through rolls of pennies, hunting for that one coin with perfect luster, no contact marks, and maybe even a rare error that makes it one of a kind. If you are watching this video right now, you might even have a 2003 Lincoln penny sitting in a jar of change, in your wallet, or stored away in an old collection. Don't overlook it. Take the time to inspect it carefully. Look for brilliant red color, sharp details, no scratches, and any signs of doubling on the letters or numbers. If you find something special, consider sending it to a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC, because the difference between an ungraded coin and a certified MS-67 or MS-68 can literally mean the difference between 1 cent and tens of thousands of dollars, and here's the beauty of it, these coins are still out there in circulation. Every day, people are spending 2003 pennies at stores without realizing that they might be giving away a small fortune. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. The possibility of discovery is always there. To conclude, the 2003 Liberty 1-cent Lincoln penny may seem ordinary at first glance, but under the right conditions, it transforms into a rare and valuable treasure. With high grades, dramatic mint errors, and historical importance, these coins have captured the attention of collectors and investors, and their market value has reached as much as $0.11 million. So always keep an eye out, check your change, and remember that sometimes the smallest coin can hold the greatest surprise.